Okay, welcome everyone to today's meeting. That's a regular meeting for the Board of Trustees for the Sequoia Community College District. Today is Monday, September 8, 2025. There are no items to report in regards to closed session. So at this time, I'd like to invite you to, invite Trustee Lane to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
We stand.
Salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, moving on to Section 5, Public Comment. Per Board Policy 2350, any person may address the board at this time either on an agenda item or other matters of interest to the public that are within the subject matter jurisdiction of the board. A maximum of 5 minutes is allowed for each speaker, with a maximum time of 15 minutes per item unless otherwise extended by the board. At this time, I'd like to invite anyone who has public comment concerning items on the agenda. Seeing none, I'd like to invite anyone who would like to make public comment concerning items not on the agenda. Okay. Moving on to item 6, board and executive staff reports, starting with Ms. Martinez, student trustee report.
For our first highlight, we have Hanford's. Since August 11th, Center Specialist Maria Torres has delivered presentations on Giant Marketplace services to 25 classes at the Hanford campus. Ms. Torres has been actively working to strengthen partnerships with Kings County service providers and participated in the Homeless Service Partnership meeting held in August. The Hanford campus welcomed students for the fall semester with a week of festivities, including free donuts and hot dogs, food trucks, and a resource fair showcasing COS programs. Students also had the opportunity to dunk some of our dedicated Hanford campus staff in the dunk tank. Tyler Johnson, Tutorial Services, Jason Brazil, Student Services Director of the Hanford Campus, and Tom Wilson, Director of the Police Academy. Jolene
We didn't hear about that. We would have made a drive ourselves.
Jolene Willis from Career and Technical Education, with support from COS staff members, conducted a resume workshop for more than 80 students enrolled in the Introduction to Fire course at Hanford. Tulare highlights show that during the first week of school, COS Tulare held Welcome Week, where students could grab a donut and review directions from staff. Over 100 students also visited Dr. Waldner, while pancakes with the provost, where students could get a free sticker from Dr. Waldner and enjoy pancakes. On August 27th, COS Tulare held its annual resource fair to engage with students and share on-campus resources. Students enjoyed free tacos, music, prizes, all while meeting students from different departments to help them succeed for the upcoming school year. On August 28th, the Ag Department held its annual Ag Barbecue to promote the Ag Clubs to students and encourage them to get involved on campus. Our Visalia highlights show that Director Hobbs, Student Affairs and Activities Secretary Renee, and Club Commissioner Jose Lazama hosted the annual Club Advisor and Officer Training last Friday. 52 club advisors and officers received training in financial procedures, student trips, and other club matters. Student Senate hosted a fall club rush on August 27th and August 28th, where hundreds of students discovered and connected with 28 active student-led clubs over the 2-day event. Students were able to earn free ice cream by visiting 6 different clubs and receiving a stamp to confirm the visit. We are setting records in student engagement and involvement through our clubs. From our own highlights as well, COS Student Senate has seen a major increase in student participation this semester. There are currently 30 active senators also enrolled in the leadership class. 11 new student representatives have been assigned to 9 different governments committees. A Student Senate Bylaw Review Committee of 5 members has been created to update bylaws and ensure proper operations of the Student Senate. The Publicity Commissioner, Andrew Luna, has formed a publicity team working on a social media posting schedule that's engaging, educational, and encouraging. A What is Student Senate campaign was launched which emphasizes our mission, vision, and values of the COS Student Senate. And we have the Student Senate addressed the Academic Senate at its first meeting of the term, emphasizing collaboration between the student body and faculty. The Vice President is researching SSCCC resources to serve COS students. An upcoming Student Senate business meeting will include a short presentation on Robert's Rules of Order, which is an open invitation for everyone to attend. A motion will be introduced to Academic Senate to allow a faculty representative to attend and speak at the Student Senate meetings with Student Senate support, as well as clubs are being engaged through Club Advisor Training, which is this September 5th. Promotion of interclub committee participation is required for clubs to participate according to College of Sequoia Student Senate bylaws. Collaboration on club charters and club individual bylaws revision updates, and club team day on September 19th, which is next Friday. Thank you.
Questions for student trustee? All right, thank you very much for your report.
Report.
Yes,
Thorough.
very detailed. Next, board member report, trustee Sherman,
No report.
trustee Nunes,
Likewise.
trustee Lane. Okay.
Nobody wants to follow Elizabeth.
Nothing to report as well, so we'll just go ahead and move on to foundation report, Mr. Foster.
I have to follow Elizabeth.
Yeah, that's right. Somebody.
Good evening, trustees, President Calvin. I just have this quick announcement. It's starting to be event season, so I do have some cards for you to highlight the two events that we have coming up that the foundation is directly involved with. We have the Crush Party in Tulare. That will be on October 10th from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. on the Tulare campus, kind of between building A and B. And so we look forward to having you all there. And then we will also be hosting a COS alumni tailgate party preceding our October 18th COS football game. We'll be in Lot 7. We'll be under the shade of the solar panels and just have some games and some nice swag and things like that for our alumni to hopefully encourage more alumni to come to the game by having a gathering right before. So I'll leave these with you.
Any questions or comments for Mr. Foster?
Thank you, Tim. Thank you, Tim.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to accreditation report, Dr. Calvin.
Thank you, President Macareno. Yes, we are entering the final countdown. Next Monday and Tuesday, the ACCJC review team will be here to meet with faculty, staff, and administrators on those final 3 areas that they couldn't quite confirm everything they needed to remotely. And so we're looking forward to that. Very, very confident. Recall that 2 of the items are to verify that we meet the standard, and then a third one is to verify whether or not we exceed the standard. I think they've determined that we meet the standard on that third one and are considering accommodation for exceeding the standard. So we'll start out Monday with a tour around campus. I think 2 of the group meetings will occur on Monday morning or Monday afternoon. And then on Tuesday, we'll tour the Tulare campus. And then one of the groups will meet on Tuesday morning. We'll have a public forum, I believe, on Monday. I know we've sent out the schedule, but on Monday we'll have the public forum. On Tuesday, we'll have the public exit report, if you will. So those meetings will occur in room 1, so please, the more the merrier.
Very good. Moving on to Superintendent President's report, Dr. Calvin.
Okay, I've just got one item, and then I'll give the rest of my time to Dr. Wilcoxon to make some introductions. But it is September, and with September comes our annual community report, which is a look back at the 2024-25 year. And as promised, everything that we're doing this year, we try to do it under the theme of 100-year celebration. And so we've kind of like the videos at Convocation, we've tried to weave in some historical data points and so forth. I think it came out great. I just wanted to publicly thank Lauren, who's with us tonight, as well as Vanessa and Jonathan for putting this entire thing together, as well as Tim Foster for pulling up a whole bunch of these old pictures and videos from which we pulled pictures. And then thank all the individual areas for helping out with the articles. It came out great, and it really is nice to have one of these every year just to kind of sum up the year. I find myself rereading old community reports just to remind myself of what we did in any given year. So, that's funny, Doc? Anyway, we've got some down here, so grab one before you go. People are already getting them. I put out some, and please share these liberally. With that, I want to introduce Dr. Wilcoxon, who has a couple introductions to make of new faculty, and then we've got a couple of new division chairs joining us tonight.
Okay, thank you. Welcome, everyone. So let's actually, if you don't mind, let's have Aaron come up. I'm going to start with Aaron Heasley, just give you a little bit of background, and then just give Aaron a couple minutes to say anything that she would like to say. So Aaron is our newest, actually she is our first ever instructional designer, professional development coordinator. So we're super excited to have her. And just a couple things about her. Why COS? She's drawn to COS's stellar reputation and the opportunity to serve as its first instructional designer. She has a deep personal and family connection to the institution. She was inspired by her father's transformative COS experience and proud to continue the legacy. So education-wise, Erin has a BA in Liberal Studies from Fresno, MA in Instructional Communication from Fresno, an MS in Instructional Design and Educational Technology from Fullerton, and then currently working on an EDD from University of Louisiana, Monroe. Personal or professional experience. She's served as an instructional designer / DE coordinator for Madera Community College, an instructional designer for Reedley Community College, and has 10 years experience in higher education, teaching communication and supporting faculty in as an instructional designer. A little bit more personal background. Birthplace is Florida. Family roots, both parents are first-gen college students from Tulare County. Connection to COS, as I mentioned earlier, her father ran cross country and track at COS in the 1970s and was named Giant of the Year. So that's kind of cool. COS helped him discover his lifelong love of learning, leading to his doctorate at Middle Tennessee University. So we've actually come really full circle in that regard. A couple more things. Erin was raised in multiple states due to her father's career and as an athletic director, Florida, Tennessee, Kansas, New York, before returning home to the Central Valley. Hobbies include traveling, reading, catching up with friends, and spending time with family. So please join me in congratulating and welcoming Erin Heasley.
That was robust. Thank you. As Dr. Wilcoxon mentioned, I'm so pleased and proud to be here. If you stop by my office, which has moved, by the way, I'll send out information on that. But if you stop by my office, I have my dad's Giant of the Year banner in my office with his running plaque, and his mile time makes me a little ill, but but it's real. Did you question?
So what year was that, and what's
Sure.
his name?
My father's name is Dale Campbell, and that was in 1972. Do you?
Dale Campbell.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Do you know?
I went to high school with him.
We didn't plan that.
Well, and you and Elise Baker are
Yes.
good friends, and her grandfather
Yes.
was probably your dad's coach,
He
right?
was my dad's coach. So Elise and I went to graduate school when I went for the first time for communication, and we studied instructional comm together. And her grandfather recruited my dad to come here and run. In fact, he sang at my parents' wedding. So,
He has a
so
younger brother, Randy, right?
correct.
Yeah.
Yes. Wow. Yeah. Yeah.
This kind of stuff doesn't happen outside of Tulare County, folks. We are
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And so it's very special. I shared in my interview that my father would bring us home every summer to visit family, and he would bring us here and tell us that this is where his education started, and I'm lucky enough to stand on his shoulders. And it's a really extraordinary, special thing. He plans to come for lunch and regale me with stories, but it's a very special thing to be here and to be able to start instructional design work. I've had the opportunity to meet with so many stakeholders on campus, and the statistics are something like 80 to 90% of college instructors never receive any pedagogy training in their graduate program. And so I'm really excited to kind of come in as that expert and fill in those gaps and kind of stand next to all of the experts that work here on campus and really kind of magnify our instruction. So I have some infographics for you, just in case you are wondering what in the world an instructional designer is. So. Thank you.
Thank you, Erin. Okay, next, can I have Heather Carlson? Okay, so Erin. Erin's our newest nursing faculty member, teaching fundamentals of nursing, Nursing 121, and Nursing 124, Adult Health Nursing. So why COS? COS feels like home. As both an alum of the nursing program and now a faculty, Heather values the opportunity to give back to the program that shaped her career. She's drawn to COS's strong sense of community, dedicated to student success, and legacy of producing excellent nurses who serve the Central Valley. Nursing runs in her family. Her grandmother also graduated from the COS nursing program, making this role part of a family tradition. She has associates in nursing from COS, MSN from Capella University, and participates in ongoing professional development and continuing education in nursing education, pedagogy, and evidence-based practice. Professional experience, she was actually a part-time faculty here at COS, utilization management nurse at for Anthem Blue Cross, registered nurse, med-surg nursing at Kauai Health, and then began a medical career in the U.S. Army as an LVN, serving at Walter Reed Army Medical Center, several Army hospitals, and on a trauma surgical team in Afghanistan. Experience also includes family clinics, general surgical services, and services on the National Hazmat Team. A little bit of personal background: born in Honolulu, Hawaii, raised in Exeter, California. An alum of the COS nursing program and a disabled veteran, bringing a unique perspective rooted in discipline, service, and patient care. Hobbies and interests: reading, traveling with family, spending time outdoors, fitness routine. What's that? Bar, yoga, walking, and family activities such as board games, sports, and backyard dinners. Mother of 6, bringing patience, flexibility, and strong multitasking skills. I can imagine that. And then served in the U.S. Army, gaining opportunities to practice nursing and in diverse and high-intensity environments. So please congratulate, or thank me. You know what I'm trying to say. Welcome me.
You're still rattled after that bear yoga thing.
Bear, bar.
I'm just really happy to be here and to be actually standing here tonight with my grandma. I think my grandma was one of the first graduating classes of this U.S. nursing program. So this is just a really special program to me. So thank you guys.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Okay, and now can we have Jessica? Is it German? German, okay. So welcome, Jessica. Jessica is our newest faculty in the paramedic program. Classes include paramedic prep, paramedic theory, paramedic clinical, and paramedic internship. In terms of why COS, she's attracted to COS's strong connection to the community and its commitment to student success. Values the opportunities COS provides for students at all stages, whether beginning their education, changing careers, or building new skills. Appreciates being part of a team that supports both students and community while also fostering her own professional growth. Education: has a BS in kinesiology and exercise science from CSU Fresno, a master's in education from Columbia Southern University, and National EMS Education Association Instructor 1 and 2 certification. So professional experience, a senior EMS specialist, education coordinator for County Fresno Public Health Department and EMS agency, paramedic, American Ambulance of Fresno, began a career as a field paramedic in 2013 in Visalia and later in Fresno, and then transitioned to EMS education in 2017 with American Ambulance of Fresno and the County of Fresno Paramedic Program. Birthplace is Hanford, raised in Lemoore, strong personal and professional ties to the Central Valley. Hobbies include enjoys sunflowers, likes to crochet, and enjoys spending time with her golden doodle, Gordon, who she's training to serve as a public safety therapy dog. So please join me in welcoming Jessica.
Thank you, everyone. It's been a pleasure being on for this first year with the program. The second year is going great, as I can expect. So it's been a pleasure having this opportunity to be here, part of the program. So thank you. Yes.
Where's Columbia Southern?
It's an online program. I believe it's out of Alabama. And thank you for mentioning that. I'm actually in progress with that master's degree. So I'm still working on getting that squared away. So thank you.
Okay, so I don't have a lot to say offhand. I'm going to actually let these two individuals do the talking for themselves. So we're going to introduce two of our next incoming, or our newest incoming division chairs. And we're going to start with James Espinoza, who is our newest division chair for the English division. I just want to say thanks to both of you for your willingness to take on this task. I was a division chair for myself for quite a while, and it's challenging, and it's not within the scope of duty, if you will, in terms of what you're hired for. So it's a little bit beyond that. There's some administrative components that you definitely have your challenges, and it's just a little different than being in the classroom. So thank you for your willingness. Appreciate it. So James, want to say a few things?
Yeah. Hello, everyone. My name is James Espinosa. I've been a faculty for the English division for about 16 years now. So just want to give you guys a little update on our English division, what we've been up to, and give a couple of thanks to folks from our division as well. The English division continues to be one of the largest generators of FTS in the district, producing 1,446.5 FTS in academic year 2024-25. So yes, we're quite the district presence, currently accounting for 21 full-time faculty and countless invaluable part-time faculty who teach courses on all 3 COS campuses and at numerous dual enrollment high school sites throughout Tulare County and Kings County. Indeed, a special thanks to our part-time faculty who semester after semester might teach an early morning at Corcoran High or a late evening at the COS Visalia campus. There is no English division without them. In 2024-25, including the summer, English faculty taught 395 sections of courses. The majority continue to be transfer-level English C1000 courses, a core class that plays a vital role in students' first-year experiences at COS, given its emphasis not only on college-level reading and composition, but overall college institutional literacy, and thus a predictor of student success. And when it comes to success, for the past 6 years since AB 705, the one-year completion rate continues to be relatively stable, averaging 66% for English C1000, English 1, what used to be English 1, which is about 26% higher in comparison to, for instance, the 40% completion rate in the 2015-16 academic year, one of the years pre-AB 705. So I think that's something we're pretty proud of in terms of adopting AB 705 and making that progress stable and kind of keeping those numbers where they're at. Obviously, we still have challenges. 66% means there's still a group of students who are struggling to complete transfer-level English within a year, and there are equity gaps there that most certainly deserve our attention. This current fall semester, we also dealt with extensive wait lists with our courses, with practically every course being heavily waitlisted, showing a need for more courses in our fall semesters. I should note that we have also seen strong interest in our literature courses, which maybe shouldn't be as surprising given this year 76 continuing students declared an English transfer major, as well as 139 first-time new students and 12 returning students. Who can blame them? We have a great faculty who deserve a shout out, such as the recently retired legend, Professor Parker, who taught and mentored so many students in his 35 years of service. I have friends that I went to high school with. I went to high school at Whitney who took classes with Parker. And I remember when I was off in college, they'd tell me, hey man, there's this guy who plays basketball with us. And so Parker's a legend, man. While we're at it, shout out to Professor Lynch, who inspires the written word, given her novel, Pony Confidential, which topped Amazon's top picks and mystery charts upon release. I'm inspired by my colleagues like Professor Katie Barbarian, Professor Stephen Howland, and others in our division's task force who research possibilities for our English support course, pushing us to explore what going beyond a 66% completion rate might require. We have faculty taking the lead on creating OER, free educational content, to make classes cheaper than ever, like Emily Vaughn's Chicano Lit course and Bryce Nakamura's C1000. I'm honored to be this division's chair, given our most recent chair, Dr. Matthew Nelson, who not only served as chair, but also as a faculty leader in a variety of capacities, like the LGBTQ plus task force, which has been instrumental in establishing the first multicultural center on campus. And I can go on and on about our faculty's contributions to our district, like Professor Eric Armstrong's invaluable work and guidance with AB 705 and AB 1705 matters, for instance, and much more. That said, my confidence wouldn't be complete without acknowledging staff, like our admin assistant, Mary Gonzalez, who does all those little things every day we can all too easily miss, posting an 8 a.m. notice on a classroom door for a canceled class session, sending an email reminder about a missed form, ordering expo markers for our supply closet. Likewise, thanks to our custodial staff like Arta Costa, Gisela Aguirre, and others who clean and sanitize our learning spaces in our Tulare, Kern, Yokat, and other English classroom buildings. And thanks to IT staff like Tracy Johnson, who just this summer refreshed 150 plus laptops in our Thule classrooms to get them ready for our students. We see you, we appreciate you. Finally, a thank you to our students who put trust in us to help them achieve their goals, who inspire us, who give us purpose. Simply put, my hope is to keep you at the forefront of our division's conversations and decisions. We thank you for trusting us with your education. Thank you all. Hope that gives you a little sense of what we've been up to and what we continue to do. That's about all I got.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, James. Okay, I'm going to introduce the last one of the evening, Brian Unruh, who is our Industry and Technology Division Chair. So, Brian.
No problem. They told me to keep it to 5 minutes, and so I showed up with only 3 pages of notes. Good evening. My name is Brian Unruh, and currently in my 8th year, believe it or not. It's been 7 years almost to the day since I stood at this place and shook as I introduced myself as a brand new employee. But I'm here tonight to introduce myself as Division Chair of the Industry and Technology Department, or Division, replacing Randy Emery. And those of you who know Randy Emery, you'll understand I feel like I have some pretty big shoes to fill in this role. So within Industry and Technology, we have 9 departments, each of which I believe could be a division on their own, as we work somewhat independently. But we are all grouped together and titled as CTE. And I don't have to tell the group what CTE means to COS. I think we've taken some pretty big strides with the new facility out here in Tulare. And we moved in last year at mid-year, so right after Christmas. Kind of tripped and stumbled a little bit as we got used to the new digs, and there were some learning curves as to how to use the whole thing, and I think it's been a good thing. Fast forward over the summer to the start of this school year, all of the 9 departments experienced heavy wait list. Within mine, construction, we have 9 classes, sometimes 10, and every single one of those were waitlisted at the start of the school year, and that includes those stale, dry, late night building code classes that I struggle to keep people interested in. But anyways, some exciting things that are happening in CTE, and I think it's well received, not only in the community, but the trades have become just a viable source of income and a career choice. And that's been kind of a little bit of a shift since in my time as a building contractor. A little bit about our division. We hired some new employees with Randy retiring and moving on to the next stage of life. We brought in a new full-timer for welding. Also hired a couple of adjunct instructors to fill in for welding. Last year we hired a new guy for the HVAC department, so currently running 2 cohorts, one morning and one evening, and I understand they're still turning people away from that program. Electrician training is busting at the seams, and we're right on the verge of bringing in another full-timer. Hopefully that's going to work out for us. It's been in program review for a couple of years. Some things that help us with that enrollment are the Jump Start program. That's been a really important thing for industrial maintenance. And so considering these stats, let me just share with you out of the master plan how we're achieving that and some of the things that are really kind of dear to our hearts in the new facility over here. Without going into a whole lot of details and trying to talk fast to be sensitive to the time, number one is partnering with local industry to create educational workforce training for high demand sectors. And so across the board with the trades, welding, by the way, has incredible need. Within the construction area, there's incredible need. And so we have a lot of work to help with that. Our advisory committees play a big part of that. Each one of those 9 departments has their own advisory committees that meet regularly, some more than ever, others. Each of us at least once a year. Most of them are twice a year, and I think welding actually meets maybe even monthly with their AWS. Number 2, expanding outreach. There's a lot of programs, and I think the spring semester goes a little bit more in depth with more activities that reach out to high schools and try and bring more people in. I mentioned the Jump Start program. That's been a big one for us. Me personally, I feel like I want to meet and introduce myself to every local high school teacher that has a construction program that could feed COS. And we've done that quite a bit with the College and Career Expo, and I've met several of them, but there's a few more that I haven't quite met yet. Number 3, dual enrollment, and that's a big part of what we do. We have 3 of the 9 that offer a dual enrollment program. Automotive department has joined up with Mission Oak, our neighbors out there in Tulare, and they offer classes at Mission Oak High School. My program, the construction group, we offer dual enrollment in Hanford High School, and we've contacted Lemoore as well, as they don't, even though they're in West Hills, they don't have construction, so we're offering that here. Lemoore's a little bit different in that it's a little bit harder for their schedule to be conducive to a 3 or 4 unit course. And then of course we have graphic design offered at Farmersville High School. Number 4, implement flexible scheduling for course offerings at CTE programs. Jonna made a mention that she wants that new building open from 7 a.m. until 10 p.m. And I think we're coming close. My friend Bill Riley in the HVAC department shows up at 6:10 every morning. And it's 6:10 because at 6 o'clock, the alarms go off. And I think there's been a day or 2 where he triggered the alarms. And so he says 6:10. I'm on campus at least a couple of nights until 9 p.m. And within the construction, there are each 4 of the nights until 9. When I leave at 9 o'clock, my friend Chris Huff is still there in the parking lot. And then when I show up tomorrow morning or Wednesday morning, he's already there at 7 o'clock. So I think we've got the doors open from 6 to 9, at least 4 days a week. So we're getting there. All that to say is we're offering opportunities for people who are working during the day to show up in the evening or early in the morning to be conducive to their schedule. And then finally, number 5, integrating soft skills into CTE curriculum and offering career guidance. That's a big part of what we do, and just finding ways that are making our students employable when they leave here. So from classroom to career, if I could coin a phrase, teaching them everything that they need to know to move on and be productive. And that includes looking at me when I shake your hand and, you know, showing up to work on time and putting the phone away and all those kind of things that maybe a generation or 2 ago we didn't have to bring that up, but today it's something. One of the biggest problems I have in class is getting those white earbuds out of people's ears so they can hear what's going on. There's a lot of people, support staff, that are in line to help with resumes, help with one-on-one interviews, whether that be either one-on-one or else a class workshop. And so all of that to say, we're doing a lot, and I feel like we have a lot of work to do. Hopefully within the next year or 2, we're going to reach our full stride and use that new facility to its full extent. So anyways, I'm happy to take over as Industry and Technologies Division Chair, and like I said, I feel like we do have quite a bit of work to do. Yes?
Brian, would it be fair to say that the increased demand to a large extent is due to the new facility, or is it just a number of different factors?
I can't say for sure, but I saw a significant growth from the old Cedar building, which is no longer, to the new digs out in Tulare. So I would attribute, yes, that is a big part of enrollment today.
And lastly, to both you and James, really appreciate your enthusiasm and all the work you're doing, and I think I probably speak for all the other board members as well. We can tell that by your enthusiasm and just giving this report.
Thank you.
Okay, I think this is still my report, right? Okay. That concludes my report, and maybe we might want to just pause for a moment if there's anybody that would like to clear the room. We don't expect you guys to get stranded here all night long, so if anybody'd like to leave, now's your opportunity. Night, guys. Thanks for being here. Hey, Nick Branch, okay?
The short film in the chat, I gotta check out.
All right, thank you very much, Dr. Calvin, for your report, and thank you for the introductions to our new faculty and new division chairs. Next, looking at item 7, reports. First, Academic Senate President's Report. Dr. Arzola, I don't see Dr. Arzola. I'd like to invite Ms. Redden Costa, President's Report. No report today. No report, thank you. Ms. Kane, CSEA President's Report update. No report. No report, okay. And then Ms. Alberti, COSAFA President's Report and update. No. Okay. Moving on to item 8, information. 2025 Annual Compliance Report, Dr. Calvin.
I know everyone's excited about this. We call it the compliance report, and maybe one or two of these things are required for compliance. I think it's just an opportunity for Dolly to flex his PowerPoint skills, though. He's given me about 40-something slides here. I'll do my best to fly through the ones that we can, but this is something that we do every September. Recall that we used to do the annual report on the master plan at this time as well. We've pushed that into December just because that generally is the longest of the 8 we see up here. We will spend some time tonight on institution set standards, the metrics dashboard from the Chancellor's Office, as well as the Data Vista metrics platform, the Student Right to Know disclosure website, as well as the Federal College scorecard, and then I'll go over briefly what I went over at convocation, and that is student support survey results, as well as the GQ results of employees. So again, we'll do the annual and end of cycle reports on the master plan in December, and that'll put to rest both the strategic plan as well as the master plan, and we're starting brand new plans as of this past July 1st. So institution set standards. These are required by the ACCJC. This comes straight out of their standards guide here. Just what criteria and processes do we have? To what extent do we achieve the standards? How do we assess the performance? And then what do we do when we don't meet those? Those are things that we're evaluated on. And it's these 4 areas that we're mostly concerned about: course completion rate, certificate completion, degree completion, and students transferring to 4-year universities and colleges. The methods that we set need to be reasonable, appropriate, and realistic. And so how do we do that? We primarily rely on history. We look at the last 5 to 8 years in those areas. We take into consideration other factors as well, but frankly, historical data disaggregated by ethnicity are another demographic of the things that we look at the closest. And momentarily, I'll give you an example of that. Once we have that data, we develop a performance range, which I'll also show you momentarily. So the column that's circled with the big blue arrows, those represent our 6-year averages in those 8 areas, from course completion on down to certificate completion. And the Chancellor's Office gives us a couple of different methods to choose from. And if you ask me to tell you the difference between method 1, 2, or 3 or certificates, we're going to have Osler come up here and explain it. But we've chosen method 2 for both degrees and certificates. And so the 100% column represents our 6-year average. And so when we develop a performance range, we go back 5% and back 10%, and then we go forward 5%, 10%, 15%, and 20% for our stretch goals or our aspirational goals. Some may ask, why in the world, if your average is at the 100% column, why would you consider going back for a minimum standard? And the reason is that once you set a minimum set standard, every single one of your subpopulation has to meet that minimum criteria. So not only do we look at the averages, but we look at the specific averages within a particular group. So there may be groups, even though our average is 70% course completion, there may be groups that are down in the low 60s. And so it does us no good to set unrealistic goals right off the bat. So that's why you see a little fluctuation from our 6-year averages. So this is what our proposed standards were. We've been working on these, give or take, for 6 or 7 years. I think we set these right before COVID. And as I'll get to a little bit later in the presentation, this is probably the year where we'll go back and tweak a few of these. But these, for the time being, these were the standards for last year. You can see what went into making those 6-year averages. We've got 2017 through 2022-23 represented here. In those individual boxes, some have 2 check marks and some only have 1. The ones that have 2 check marks means that they met not only the minimum set standards, but also the aspirational goals. And if a box only has 1 check mark, it means we only met the minimum set standards for that year. So this is all that went into those 6-year averages, and this is our achievement or performance for the 2023-24 year. It always seems like this is a year behind because it coincides with the reports we have to submit to the ACC-JC, and we're just now submitting the 2023-24 year to them. You can see that we met the minimum set standard for course completion rate, but did not reach our aspirational goals. In the area of student degree completion, we met both the minimum and the stretch. In the area of student transfer, we only met the minimum set standard. And then in the area of student certificate completion, we met both the minimum and the stretch. If you want to take a deeper dive, trust me, we've got a really deep end in this pool. You can go to our giant fact book here locally, and then the ACC-JC has all of this and more as well. They have a student achievement dashboard as well as a return on investment metric. It looks a little something like this. And so you can find the same data here that you find on our website at our fact book. Any questions regarding the ACC-JC minimum set standards before I move on to some of the Chancellor Office requirements?
I guess we would call that a success, right? I mean,
Yes. Oh, yeah. Very successful. And there's also room for improvement in some areas. So that's the key. I mean, we want to keep pushing forward, but we also want to make sure that we're continuously improving, and this requires us to do that. Look at ourselves in the mirror once a year and decide kind of where we need to improve. What's next in terms of this is, as I mentioned earlier, I think this is probably the year where we'll will look at some tweaks and bring it back through our governance groups. This is a schedule of what we did last year. These come for information. They come to the Academic Senate, the District Governance Senate, and Senior Management. Dr. Ozturk presents all of those, and then I present to you every September. Okay, the next 4 should go pretty fast. We've got the Chancellor's Office Student Success Metrics Dashboard. It used to be available on the launch board. It gives you just about anything you want to know about how our students have done, and then you can do a side-by-side comparison between any other of the 114 other community colleges in the system. We've got a new platform known as Data Vista, and you see in the upper right-hand corner the kind of quick links that it has there to the adult ed program, to comprehensive student report, to guided pathways, to the strong workforce program, to the C program, student equity and achievement, and then Vision 2030. The Chancellor's Office also has a right to know disclosure website, which will tell you the graduation rate of all community colleges in our system. That's interesting. It can be a little misleading because not all of our students are looking to graduate. Students may come here to take a handful of classes to get that next promotion at work and what have you. So sometimes when people look at these right to know disclosure websites, they think, gosh, yours wasn't that great, but it was a heck of a lot better than this college. And it just prompts questions. They don't do a real good job of deciphering between students that are here for graduation versus students that are here for one Excel class or something like that. At any rate, there is a right to know disclosure website at the Chancellor's Office. And then finally, there's in a similar vein, they also have a federal college scorecard that does a similar or serves a similar function. Kind of some overview information, and then sort of the basic success data can be found here as well. Any questions regarding those 4 before I move on? Okay. Finally, as I presented at convocation, last spring was our opportunity not only to survey our students, which we do every other spring, but it was also the start of the end of an old or the start of a new strategic plan at which time we survey all of our employees, and we call that the Giant Questionnaire or the GQ. We'll start with the students here. You've heard me say this a bunch, but back in 2015, I think a lot of us were scared to death to ask all of our students how they felt about their service here, and I think it surprised a lot of us to see a 97% satisfaction rate. I still find that incredible, just because I don't know that the most successful businesses in the world have a 97% satisfaction rate. We had the same thing in 2017 and 2019. COVID hit, and we were all worried that it was going to really dip, and it actually went up by a percentage point to 98%. We held 98% through COVID into 2023, and then this past spring hit 98% again, with I think it's 55% being very satisfied. So got to be happy with all that, but there was very little drop off between one campus or another, or one course format or another. Had some nice comments, certainly had our share of constructive criticism or suggestions for improvement, which is always helpful. I always note at convocation as well that our folks in research, Dolly and Tyler and Ryan, they read every single comment. And when there's a comment that clearly needs attention now and not 3 months from now when we have this report done, that comment gets shared with the appropriate personnel, whether it's somebody in mental health whether it's someone in the food pantry or Giant Threads or whatever, it gets shared in real time, and so that student can be contacted, which I just find to be a great practice by our research department. We also ask them, what's been a challenge, and rank them. You see in the green represents not very challenging, all the way to light blue, which is very challenging. Financial money tops the list in terms of being very challenging. 20% of our students feel like finances are very challenging, or balancing work and school is very challenging. And then kind of on down the list, balancing family and school, medical, mental health issues, transportation issues, technology. These are the kinds of things that we use with respect to our You Speak, We Listen campaign. We try to address some of these things. You can see over time, since we did this in 2021, a lot of these same issues have occurred, but maybe at a lesser degree. So either things were really tough during COVID, which is probably the case, or we've gotten better at a few of these things, which is also probably part of the case. But you can see a little bit of a longitudinal study here to see kind of how students are reporting their challenges. And so that's it for the student section. Any questions regarding our student surveys before I move on to our employees? No? Moving right along?
I would
Yep.
just comment that I think it's very satisfying to see the 98% number, and it's a testament not to the only to the administration, but every single one of the 800 or so employees that are a part of achieving that satisfaction.
100%, 100%. I think I talked about it at convocation. Gosh, we could have 750 employees 100% on their game, having the best day ever. But if number 751 is having a bad day, and that happens to be the first person that a student runs into that day, that's not good. It really does take all of us working together. And I attribute that 98% to exactly that, Trustee Nunez, is just a lot of really good-hearted, talented people working together to help students. Anything else before I move on? Okay, moving on to the giant questionnaire. This first area is rating overall satisfaction with their work environment, which is a little bit different than kind of the second piece I'll show you. And back in 2017, there was a 93% satisfaction rate here. During COVID, it jumped up to 95%. And then in 2025, it held at 95% as well. And then the second piece is the level to which we agree with the statement COS is a great place to work. In 2017, that was 95%. It jumped up to 96% during COVID, and then all the way up to 98% this past spring. So that was great news as well. Again, we get great comments, and we also get some constructive criticism, which is kind of the point. I mean, you want to hear from people, and I think did I tease? Yeah, I did. I teased at convocation that I had 2 comments that just ripped the heck out of me. But you know what? I got to listen to those and take the medicine where appropriate. And then to a lesser extent, there are some areas on our 3 campuses that had more comments than other areas, and it just helps us improve. Like it's the time to really kind of try to swallow your pride and swallow your ego and just listen. If enough people are saying kind of the same thing, hey, we're not doing a good job in this area, change it. And so we do our best to listen to not only students but employees as well. If you want to jump in and look at the entire report, you can find it again here. There's not much you can't find on here if you stay on it long enough, but But those reports and studies and surveys can be found on the research website and or on our dashboards and or on the within our fact book. Happy to answer any questions that you might have. And if not, I want to just thank Dr. Ozturk and Ryan Barry Souza and Tyler Verdon for the incredible amount of work that they do and for doing such a great job of packaging it up so the rest of us can kind of understand it.
Any questions?
No question, it's just, applause. Well done and pretty impressive group as my colleague has put. It does take everybody. Appreciate that.
Very good. Thank you very much for the report. Next, I'd like to invite Dr. Wilcoxon to share more about the low enrollment justification report for the fall 2025.
Okay, so here is our low enrolled report. We have, again, low enrolled and then a canceled report, which is just after this. This is for our fall 25 semester. We present this to the board at the beginning of each semester. I will have to say that I'm quite proud of this list and the fact that it is so short. That's actually, if you want to scroll, you can actually see the entire list, I believe, on one screen, which is not typical.
That's a first.
Yeah, yeah. So I don't really have a whole lot to say beyond that other than I think we're doing amazing. Enrollment is really strong. Yes, there's some lower numbers in there, but if you look at the justifications to the right, some of those we really just don't have a lot of options because if we, let's say, choose not to run some of them, then it's probably going to have a significant impact on our students' abilities to get through those programs. Sometimes they're sequential and so forth. So I don't know if there are any questions about that particular.
I just had one question, curiosity question about, I don't know, 3/4 of the way down, Math 067, where the justification was required for faculty to complete a full load for this semester. With the wait list of courses, I was just curious, I presume that we evaluate whether or not there's another location we could put that.
Yes, that's really our standard practice in terms of determining whether this individual could teach either another class or maybe at another location. It just really kind of depends. Some of it's also maybe the instructor's, I don't know, ability, if you will, whether they've taught a class in a certain area. I don't know if you have any specifics on that particular one, but
Well, for one thing, it's also a Calc 3 class as well. It's in a sequence. We're not going to drop a class with, what's it say, 14 in a sequence class like that. That's one thing. And then number two is we're going to be in our first week, if not our second week, by the time we determine that we've kind of topped out at 14. It's really too late to go changing instructors. We don't have a bullpen of unstaffed classes in your first or second week. Now, had we identified that as being something back in June that wasn't going to make, and we canceled it in June, we may have been able to do something about it then. And maybe if it was a full-timer, needed it for a load, we may have been able to reschedule it at a different time where we felt like it would do better, or we may have been able to they call it bump an adjunct, possibly. But again, 14 and a Calc 3, we'll take that. A lot of, Teresa Red's here, we take that in a lot of semesters, wouldn't we? Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, so.
Now we have two of them. There were two sections. One was like almost filled, and those 14 students wouldn't have been able to go somewhere else, and it's the third.
No, good conversation. I appreciate the background on that.
can you scroll up to so that's our low enrolled classes, and these are canceled classes. Again, they're canceled for, I would say, any number of reasons, but the majority of it, however, is usually just due to low enrollment. So part of the reason why, you know, some of those other classes might have been, you know, where they are is impacted by this. And we try to be as efficient as we possibly can. Sometimes if we have two classes, like Francisco mentioned, you know, if we cancel one, then we look to see, are we going to take those students out, remove their option to continue on, or can we move them to another section? Can we keep other classes rolling? So we do a lot of that. A lot of communication with students, and you know, trying to reach out to them when we know some of these are going to be canceled in advance. We do as much of it in advance as we possibly can, but ultimately, it's all about trying to become as efficient as we can with our courses. We do try to avoid running them low enrolled, but for various reasons, sometimes you just really need to. And these are the ones that really kind of needed to be cut.
On the dual enrollment, it looked like, my impression is that the high schools themselves eliminated that course. Is that a fair statement?
I think that's a fair statement for at least a number of them. A lot of times, maybe not a lot of times, but sometimes what we encounter is where high schools have good intentions and they think they're going to have X number of students enrolling, and we do everything we can to give them the benefit of the doubt. But at least even in a couple of mine, they reached out and they were like, you know, we're just not going to get the 20 students that we told you. We actually have, you know, 10. And so at that point, nobody really wants to put the time and effort in, and it's just not going to run at 10. So we work with them as early as possible. So a lot of times if they can tell us up front, then we cancel them early. That's ideal. And other times they really kind of push and ask us to give them all the chances and opportunity we can. And then sometimes we have to make the call and say, sorry, it's just too low. So it's kind of a combination of them and us. Any other questions on the low enrolled or canceled report? That's the report.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good job for your first time around.
Morrison, year-end governance report.
All right, good evening. Okay, so you guys are very familiar with this each year. Either myself, maybe Dean Vasquez has presented, or President Calvin presents the District Governance Senate Subcommittee results. And this is really just an evaluation and an assessment of our District Governance Senate committees and all of the subcommittees that report up through them. And just a reminder, and kind of, I believe Dr. Calvin kind of broached this tonight, but Dr. Lacerna did last month in her accreditation report. Our participatory governance structure and model for integrated planning is one of the core inquiries from the ACCJC. And part of it is they're so impressed with just how clean it is. And I'm always reminded of that when I give this report. So to the left, you'll see our governance structure. And tonight, we're focusing on the left side, District Governance Senate, and the subcommittees that report up to it. But also, Academic Senate will receive the same information from Dr. Ozturk's office as that we do tonight for District Governance Senate, which we refer to as DGS. So you guys recall that each spring, Dr. Ozturk's group surveys all of our committee members and the co-chairs. We had, I believe, 49 respondents out of the 81, if I read the report correctly. And then the results are shared with the co-chairs of DGS, and the subcommittees are all operated by co-chairs as well. The co-chairs for DGS are Dean Vasquez, Juan Vasquez, one of the student services deans, and then Shane Heddick, who is one of our sergeants. He is a CSEA member. Is that you? The door shutting. So here we go with the results. The main function of District Governance Senate, and I will not read them all, you've got it right in front of you. But the first one, most important, is to make recommendations to the superintendent president on the budget, the integration of planning and resource allocation, and other matters of the district. And so for those that offer to co-chair these committees, any of the other committees on our campus, it's a lot of work, and it's heavy-duty work. You're often kind of using Robert's rules and mitigating really tough conversations, a lot of times referring to budget, processes, resource allocations, policies, and just any kind of other things that are coming up across the campus. And so there's a comprehensive list of the things that are covered during those meetings. And so the meat of the reports are member satisfaction. And again, the co-chairs are given a very, very comprehensive report with comments, and what they do is they bring those back to their first or second meeting of the year, and they discuss, you know, without pointing fingers, hopefully, or names, they discuss the comments. The comments typically are regarding workload. Do they have enough time to do the tasks that are, you know, then when they set their initiatives? Are we adhering to Robert's Rules of Order? Does it seem, you know, are all voices heard and all parties recognized? And so it goes through, and so this first one is on a scale of 1 to 4, and you can see that all groups fared very, very well, and then it explains below, you know, regarding met roles and responsibilities, did they have adequate and appropriate resources? And so all of our groups primarily fell into agreed or strongly agreed.
The obvious outlier there is the IPRC
Yeah.
and the Robert's Rules of Order.
Correct.
Is
And
that a small number?
Yeah,
Respond?
this is a hard one to respond to as someone who's also been a part of that committee as well. What happens sometimes is that you get going in a conversation and they're very, that's a very task-oriented group. And so you're really trying to solve things, and so perhaps maybe you're not putting the motion on the table before you discuss it. That's what I would guess. I don't sit on that committee anymore, but I can see how that could occur on that group. You know, when I first co-chaired District Governance Senate, my very first year, I used to think it got in the way a little bit. You know, you've got to stop. You know, you guys are going through this here. Obviously, I understand and respect the need for it to make sure that all voices are heard in a very fair manner. But in a group like that, where they're discussing so many details and details about trainings coming out and different things, I can see how that could occur. But I'm positive those co-chairs will go back and discuss with the group who felt that maybe they weren't adhering to Robert's Rules of
And
Order.
my guess is the people that said we aren't, John, my guess is the people that said we aren't adhering to it aren't mad about it. They're just saying, like, we're a small working group working on program review and doing good work. We really don't, I mean, we're not the Board of Trustees, we're not DGS, we're not Academic Senate, we're just down here doing the work, and we really don't adhere to Robert's rules. We're not stopping to say, do I have a motion, do I have a second? You know, we're just not doing those things. So my guess is nobody's mad in IPRC about it.
Actually, we all voted that unless there's a complicated issue, we'll do motions, right?
Okay.
But we said when we approve the minutes, we're gonna give a thumbs up, and it's a working group.
Right.
And so we're actually proud of that number, to be
It's always been a little funky question, to be honest.
Yeah,
but-
yeah.
Right.
And I
Backstory.
yeah, I felt the same way when I served on that committee, yeah.
It's Osterk. Osterk doesn't want to change questions because then he doesn't have a longitudinal study on everything.
Yeah. But I guarantee, like Francisco is saying, they go back and discuss this, and hey, what was the intention of whoever said this? Is it that you felt like your voice wasn't being heard? Are you feeling like it's kind of impeding how we're moving along? So really good conversations come out of this comprehensive survey. And then we go on to % of respondents who agree or strongly agree with each of the following. And, you know, again, you kind of see much of the same kind of pattern. I really want to compliment these groups, especially those that have 100%. I mean, that means 100% of the folks that answered felt like it couldn't get better. So that's pretty incredible. District Governance Senate, I will say, the 87% is stellar. They are having really, really tough conversations at that level. That's the next level before it comes to you, this body, for voting. And so it's a really well diversified and represented group. You've got, it's kind of like 2 by 2 by 4, and you've got cost representation, administrative services representation, CSCA, and really robust conversations go on there. They're approving policies before they hit here, which is the last stop. So it's super critical that everyone in the room feels comfortable before they go into voting, because again, that's kind of the last stop before it comes here. And as someone who co-chaired this for 6 years, it's a tough committee that does really tough work, and it's really rewarding work, but a lot happens in there. So I really just applaud all the members of our faculty and our staff and our managers that sit on these committees. And oftentimes you'll go into one committee and you'll leave and you'll see the same people in another, because it's hard to get folks that want to dedicate themselves to these committees. But we do a really good job of it. It's just a lot of work and a lot of tough conversations with your colleagues. So I commend this group, and I also commend Dr. Ozturk again and his team, who provides a very, very comprehensive, you guys are getting the real cliff notes of it, so that each set of co-chairs and committee can dive into the data and see where they think they might be overtasked, undertasked, what resources they need for the district. The Robert Rules thing was a good example of those kind of conversations as well. Any questions? Okay.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Next, I'd like to invite Mr. Perez, actual story of retiree health liabilities and OPEB trust update.
Good evening, Board. So every 2 years, we present the actuarial study to you, and it's the retiree healthcare liabilities. Thank you. And basically what it is this. You have the book, right? The actuarial. I won't go through the book. This is a high-level overview of what's contained in the book. Again, in the CBA collective bargaining agreements, faculty classified management, there are some promises that the district has made to all employees, and you'll see those in each column right there in row. Again, it is when we make these promises, we need to make sure that we're able to fund these for our employees. Again, to GASB accounting rules, Ken, you'll love this. GASB, again, we just need to make sure that we're accounting for any future and past employees, and we have the funding. And what it is it doesn't require us to fully fund the program, but it is highly encouraged. Of our California community colleges statewide, there's less than 10 that are fully funded, and we're one of those 10. So that's a very good high mark that we're able to fund our future retiree liabilities 100%. And I'll get in those numbers in a second.
10 statewide?
Less than 10.
Less than 10.
And we're one of 10.
Let's go.
Again, these are the assumptions. Again, if you want to look at the assumptions, they're on those pages there of the book. Just want to get to the meat and potatoes of this report. Little OPEB, other post-employment benefits, transfer history. Again, the board made back in the day to fully fund this program. So you see from 2006 all the way through 2025, district contributions to get up to the fully funded level. You'll see from June of 20 through June of 25, we have made no contributions to that fund, meaning that our investments are doing really well. And then in the report, basically on page 1, that's really the only page you need to read in this report is, and you're looking at the left column there, our total OPEB liability, which means in the CBA of all our employees that meet those 3 faculty classified management, if they all retire at 55 and they've been with the district 10 years, we cover them up through Medicare at the cap, It's the cost of $13.6 million. The net position, FNP, that's currently in our account. How much money is in our trust account? Again, we invest in a JPA with 25 other community colleges in the state, so it's a pool of investment. At the time, we had almost $14 million, and you'll see the bracket there. So we're fully funded by $383,000. But I do want to point out, this is always a year in arrears. That $13.998 million is bigger than what it is right now, or what does it show in that report? So the end of the year report for June 30th of 25 shows 15.4. So again, we went from 14 million, 15.4, and you see from the last row there, June 30th of 19, where we had 10.5 million. Again, remember, we weren't putting any contributions in. You'll see where we went from 19 to 25, a little over 40% increase in return of investments.
Could you go back to the previous slide?
Sure.
So for the net position of 13.9,
Yes.
it says June 30, 25, but yet your other slide says June 30, 25,
Yeah, it should be
15
this one
million.
here, because they use prior year dollars or prior year information. So this June of 25 really is 24.
Okay.
Okay,
How
so.
about the OPEB liability, the 13.6, is that accurate as
Yeah,
of?
that's accurate.
As of June 30th, 2025?
Of 25.
So we can compare that number with
To
the
the
15, the
15.40.
15.5? Yeah,
Yes.
so we're really over.
So we're good.
Solid.
So you see the increase is a little over 40% there. Again, with no additional contributions. Again, this is one of the, when we talk about fiscal stability, if there is fallout money, this might be one of the areas that we look at in the future if we need to do that there. Again, the goal is for the district to fund OPEB 100%, and we are over that. Our investment is a pooled investment with the SWAC and also the Community Colleges League of California, and I sit on both of those boards as a finance committee and board of directors. So again, you heard Robert's rules and all that, so a lot of investments. We are what they call not an aggressive, but a moderate investment pool. So we haven't lost any money. The only time we really lost is when COVID hit. That's when we lost, but we gained it all back. So that was good there. So with that, this was just a requirement that we have to present to the board on how we're doing for OPEB and to show that we're all fully funded. Any questions?
Two questions. One, just curiosity question, the joint powers that does the investment, that's not just for this fund, that's for all funds?
No, just for this fund.
Just for this
Just for this
fund.
fund.
Oh,
It sits
wow.
separately with the California Community League of California. And they have their own investors, and they do RFPs for investors, and we, as the board members, look at that as RFPs, and we select the investors, and then each district can say, I want aggressive, I want moderate, or I want safe. And we took the middle road, it's moderate.
Everything else we have, I think,
It's with everything else with the county.
LAI.
Yes.
yeah, it's just.
Yeah,
The
You don't-
county,
you don't-
we
you
earn
don't
1.5%, 2%, if that.
yeah, that's
You
what I
get what
figured
you-
it'd be.
You get what you get, you don't throw a fit. I mean, we have no say in how we invest our money.
Yeah, they're conservative. Right, yeah, lots of bonds. The other, just curiosity question is on page 4 of the write-up here. It shows retirees currently receiving benefits, and I guess it was just a little bit alarming to me. It showed the prior year, there were 62 people receiving benefits, and then current year, or the year of the report, there was 47. Does that necessarily imply that maybe they reached the age of
Of
Medicare?
65, or worst case scenario,
Yeah,
they're no
We
longer with
may have
us.
had a few
Yeah.
pass away.
Yeah.
right.
We had some from 1984 that were on lifetime benefits. And so we do end up losing a few of those each year. There are districts in our system that have continued to do the lifetime, and so they're upside down on this whole formula. But then we also have, in our district, for employees that reach retirement age, choose to retire, and have worked here 10 years, they continue to get our benefits until Medicare kicks in at 65. So conceivably, someone could retire at 55 and have 10 years on that system. So you probably have some of those as well. People that retire between 55 and 65 and became Medicare eligible.
That's it. Thank you very much.
Thank
for
you.
the report. Moving on to item 9, consent calendar. All items listed on the consent calendar are considered routine and will be enacted by one motion. An item may be removed from the consent calendar at the request of any member of the Board of Trustees or any member in the audience and considered a separate agenda item. Items are minutes of the previous meeting, personnel report, payment of bills, construction services for COS Training Resource Center, out-of-state travel request, and registered nursing program agreement.
Item 10, please.
Item 10. Then I'd like to pull item 9. So for items 5 through 8, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved. Second.
Motion by trustee Sherman, seconded by trustee Nunes. All in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Motion carries. So item 9. Dr. Wilcoxon. Just wanted to just make a public comment in regards to reading this. Always, anytime we hear about students getting the opportunity to be outside of the district, be participating not only in state but national programs, I always like to highlight and thank those that are involved, the MESA directors, anyone who's involved in encouraging students to look outside of the area. So just wanted to publicly thank thank them, and for us using MESA grant funding to take them to a national event.
It's an amazing conference. I personally went to it probably 3 or 4 times, and it's not really a typical experience that a student coming to a community college, a lot of them do not get to experience this, and it really opens the door, so thank you for that.
Yes, I was reading the description, and it's going to be a great opportunity for them, so I appreciate it. Thank you. If there's nothing else, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved. Item 9. Second.
Motion by trustee Nunes, seconded by trustee Sherman. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Item 10. Trustee-
Just deeper understanding, if you'll allow me. So this is, Jonah, basically like a placement agreement, right? Okay. Okay. And so there won't be a compensation component to it at all.
We lost our, for some technical reasons, we can no longer take our pediatric nursing students to Korea Kids. It's just a staffing issue for them. They don't have enough staff for us to actually assign clinical instructors to the teachers. So I think that's something to do with the number of kids per ratio that they're trying to meet. So we had to find another place for our pediatric students to observe normal neurodevelopmental sequence between 0 and 5, and Montessori is allowing us to go to that for clinical placement.
Okay, great. And so that is on, where we see on the very last page, all the nursing courses and nursing 143 is highlighted. So it's only that
It's only that,
aspect.
and only those SLOs, those student learning outcomes for nursing 143 are required to observe toddlers and
Oh, okay.
preschoolers.
Good, thank you.
But every one of our nursing students goes through a clinical experience like this somewhere. Most of them, I think, are at one of the hospitals, right?
Yeah, the infants are at the hospital, and then we needed some outpatient, or not outpatient, preschool type experiences for like the 1 to 5 years.
Sure, great, yeah, that's great, thank you.
We're thrilled that they agreed to a clinical contract. This just kind of is the legal MOU so we can take students there, and there are students we cover all the liability
You better make the motion, John.
Yeah.
I'll entertain a motion.
Wait, I didn't know if anybody else had any questions. I'll move for approval of item 10 as presented.
Second.
Motion by trustee Lane, seconded by trustee Sherman. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. All right.
Pretty good parliamentary procedure.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Number 10, action. Number 11, approval of transfer of 2024-2025 one-time funds, resolution number 2025-08. Mr. Perez.
Thank you, Board. So we finished closing our fiscal year, 24-25. Remember, it goes from July through June 30th. It takes about a month and a half to close our books. So we just closed our books probably about 2 weeks ago. And at the time, we didn't think we were going to have this fallout. And let me give you a little information on that. When we adopted our budget back in September of last year, the state was only giving us a 0.5% growth, or 72 FTES. And then we hear everybody talk about funded versus unfunded, right? And we knew last year was going to be the new floor that districts were all going to be held accountable for, meaning whatever you earned in funded FTS, that's your floor. You couldn't go down any lower. And if you didn't reach that floor, you could get no further or future COLA. So we had on our books, and we talked about in senior management with Dr. Robinson, instruction, everybody talked about it. We heard it in DGS. We had, 500 to 600 unfunded FTS. We were getting nervous. But we made the calculated decision going, let's keep it, because if there's any money left at the end of the year, the governor and the chancellor's office said the priority was to make those districts, we're going to give you a bump in percentage of funded growth. So it went from 0.05, growth of 72 FTS to 5.05. So it went from 72 FTS to 535 FTS. What does that mean? That means it went from 300,000 to over $3 million. So that was a great calculated decision on behalf of the district that we all made as a team. So our recalc, if you remember, I'm talking budget now, we end in June. We really don't know what we get until February the following year. They did an early recalc, July of this year, because all the districts were chomping at the bit. What are we getting? What are we getting? So they did a special recalc end of July, July 29th, and we showed $3 million. So that went into the our surplus. So what we're showing you today is our estimated surplus is a little over $5 million. We're asking the board to put 4.8 into capital projects. And why I say capital projects is, as you know, we're starting the University Center over here, $95 million bond program. We know what's going on with the feds and the tariffs and what have you. So we know we need to start probably putting some money. It'd be a smart thing to put some money away just in case. And also, when folks move out to the new buildings, how are we going to fund the secondary effects of, i.e., the bookstore moving over to the student union? We would love to make that a new conference center. We need funding for that. Student services moving out of where they're at, going to the student union, the new student union cafeteria. We need funding to remodel that. So this is the 4.8 that we are going to earmark and tell Byron, do not touch it. It stays a measure C for any kind of future secondary effects or any of the cost overruns. And, and the remaining 340,000 will go to our fund balance. And you'll see our fund balance, and I'll get into that a little more when we go to our adopted budget, 31.2 million or 27.71% reserve. So with that, I'm asking for your approval for resolution 2025-08 for a transfer to move our 24-25 surplus into these two.
I move we approve 2025-08.
Comment or question? Ron, I guess we all read and hear on the news, and it would seem to me like trying to bid this project based on what I hear and read and what you said about the great unknown with tariffs and this and that steel and other byproducts that potentially could create additional costs for this project. Am I on the right track on that? or
You
is
are,
that-
but the good news is that.
Pardon me?
You are,
Okay,
but.
but you said you're
caveat-
wrong.
You are and you're wrong, no. We just had our cost estimator do the cost estimation for our circles, what do we call it, infrastructure of the roads?
Right.
Student union and the university center. And it's actually coming under 95 million. But again, we don't know the unforeseen, right?
Yeah.
So we want to start so it'd be prudent to put some money away just in case.
The other thing to keep in mind, we're saving as many acorns as we can for that possibility, but also when things tighten up as a result of tariffs, there can be a sharpening of the pencils too, because there are contractors out there that because of the tariffs, because owners are choosing not to go forward with their projects, there's less things to bid on. And so it can have that effect as well. Sometimes we see that. That was the case with this first phase, it was obviously a smaller bid package. We'll know, is it December? December when we're bidding?
December we're bidding.
Yeah, we're bidding the UC in December, and I think in February or March, we'll be bidding the student union, so we'll know soon enough. In the meantime, we're gonna do as many things like this as we can to have a little more than what we've set aside so far as contingency.
Okay, I would second the motion for the adoption of Resolution 2025-08.
Been motioned by trustee Sherman, seconded by trustee Nunes. Any other discussion, comments? Kenneth, I'll ask you for a roll call vote, please.
Trustee Sherman?
Aye.
Trustee Nunes?
Aye.
Trustee Lane? Aye. Trustee Macaroni?
Thank you very much, Mr. Perez. Next up, a public hearing on the 2025-26 district budget. Mr. Perez.
So tonight is the night that we adopt our 25-26 budget. Remember, June, we did tentative. The governor approved a budget in mid-June, some regular bills. Through July, August, they approved the budget. And tonight, we're presenting the budget. Thank you, Kanata. So again, I'll go over 24-25, how we just ended, which you just actually saw in the last board agenda item. Our 25-26, our assumptions and our apportionment terminology, and our fiscal plan, how we're doing this year and how we're doing 2 years out. Again, just a recap of 24-25. Again, in the CBA collective bargaining agreements, it's funding COLA +1. So you see COLA was 2.3 and it was +1, so it's 3.3 for all employees. You'll see where capital projects funding, all the things and great things that Byron and his staff are doing. You just saw the other OPEB, how we're fully funded there. And the goal and one of the board of priorities to maintain prudent fiscal reserves. And you see that dollar amount right there. So a recap of 24-25. Again, I won't go over this. You saw this at the last information item. So 24-25, early R1, which is recalculation 1 that came out in July. Our general fund unrestricted, 104.7 million. Federal and local, which is financial aid, a lot of grants. That's where we put it in federal and local. Total revenue 115. Total expenditures 115. Again, 340,000 went to our fund balance, and the 4.8 went to capital projects. So that was the 5.14 estimated for 24-25. Okay, oh yeah, there we go. I spoke too soon. There again, there you see it there, 31.2 or 27.17%. Very healthy, which is good. I'll get into a couple things on what the governor is doing last year and this year to balance his budget, or our budget. Again, signed the budget June 27, $12 billion deficit for 25-26. How is he going to do the hocus pocus for that? So fund shifts, reserves, program reductions, borrowing, deferrals. Deferrals is a big thing for us. That's what he's doing. Though his budget focus was stability, plan for uncertainty, drawing reserves and deferrals. So he's deferring. It's one more slide after this. Again, it goes back to the community college budget framework, the roadmap for the future. Again, remember, 24-25 that just ended is our new floor. We can't go no lower than that, but that means we have to hit 11,000 FTS, plus or minus a few FTS there. But he is deferring apportionment, 408 million from 25-26 to 26-27. So what does that mean really when you talk about deferrals? We'll talk about the year that just ended, 24-25, June 30th. He deferred 243.7 million of what was owed to all districts in 24-25 that just ended in June, and is repay back in 25-26. For us, that's $6 million. Have we seen it yet? No. So that will probably be September, hopefully this month, most likely October, November. So we're due $6 million. That's another reason I have a fiscal reserve, because we have to carry those balances. We have bills to pay. And 25-26, doing the same thing. 408 million. What is it for us? 4.4. So again, that's our last payment. So say the payment in June that's due to us, 4.4, we'll probably get it in September, October. But again, we'll draw on our reserves to make sure that we hit all our liabilities there. Again, when you see our budget of 104 million, folks think when July 1st, we get 104 million right off the bat. We don't. You'll see the percentages there on what we get. July we get 8%, August 8%, and you'll see how it goes forward. Add those all together, it's 100%, not counting any deferrals that they're doing. So again, we need to have a reserve to use that to pay our liabilities. So what is our assumptions? COLA, cost of living allowance, 2.3. Growth, a little over 1%. And the biggest gripe with all CBOs, and I think all districts statewide, is no COLA for the Student Equity and Achievement Program. It's the biggest program, I think, in student services with a lot of staff there. So when we make our CBA agreements, they get COLA +1. It eats out of Vice President Morrison's budget. So we have to come as a district to make that program whole to pay our employees. So again, we're always advocating, if you give COLA, please give COLA to student equity and achievement programs. But to date, it hasn't happened. Usually what happens, once they take it away, you're hardly never going to get it back. And that brings me to deferred maintenance.
Speaking of which, deferred maintenance.
Yeah, speaking of which, deferred maintenance. You see 22-23, you heard me talk about this, 9 million in 22-23. 1 month left in the fiscal year, they said, hey, we need money. We're going to take back 5 million. We hopefully you didn't spend it, districts. We didn't spend it, luckily, y'all. So we reduced from 9.9 million to 4 million. 23-24, they gave us 62,000, and now they've taken away 24-25, 25-26. So again, we brokered the question in the chancellor's office, but basically what they said is use your general fund. Usually because when they take it away, it's not coming back. So again, we have to use our general fund to fund things, HVAC, what have you, all the deferred maintenance, that we used to get funding separately just for those programs.
And we're fiscally strong enough to do some of that. Obviously, deferred maintenance is important to all of us. But the other thing that we get pinched on, all districts get pinched on, is there's a 50% law where 50% of all the money that comes in has to be spent in the classroom, which doesn't include counselors, it doesn't include librarians, it doesn't include any of the technology that goes in. So the 50% law was invented in 1961, before the internet, before all these other things. So that's where we get pinched a little bit. If you're putting a new roof and it's coming out of general fund instead of categorical deferred maintenance, then it's counting against you, against your 50% law. So there's a lot of things that just kind of run in conflict with one another with the state's budget.
Thank you. Again, here's our SCIF, Student Center Funding Formula base, what we receive per credit, CDCP non-credit. Then the metrics, you'll see 24-25 on the left, 25-26, again, they've all increased the 2.3% COLA. Again, this is our base. If you're a medium college, which we are, we're between 10,000 and 20,000 FTS, we start right off at a base 8.87 million. We have two centers, Tulare and Hanford, each over 1,000 FTS, and that's 2.2 per center. So if you go down to the next box, medium college in 25-26, 8.8, 2 centers, 4.4. So just starting off before you start counting on how many FTEs you have and all the success rates, we're starting at 13.3. Again, our assumptions that we're going to get the full SCIF, COLA, and we always throw a deficit factor, even though deficit went away this year at R1, Recalc 1. But we always throw something in there because we know there's going to be some kind of deficit or some kind of deferral. And if it doesn't happen, it goes back. So again, if you're talking about a $100 million budget, that's about $1 million that will go back. Expenditures, again, salary increase 1% above the funded COLA. Base budget augmentations that we do every year. All the divisions go through senior management. We take it to the budget committee and DGS. Again, that could be staffing to discretionary, step and column, new staffing, stirs and PERS, health and welfare. So with that, our revenue is, and I'm talking general fund and restricted, $142 million. Expenditures $140 million, so we're looking at a surplus a little less than $2 million. And then when we talk about the base budget augmentation, ongoing expenditures to the budget, you'll see some of the examples of what we've done there. In the discretionary, you'll see the discretionary, some new staffing. Again, you heard me talk about student equity and achievement not receiving COLA. Well, again, we need to make student equity and achievement whole. So you'll see the cost there. So total ongoing, moving forward, a little over 1.1, almost $1.2 million on top of the budget there. Again, our FTES, and you probably saw this at convocation. Remember back in the COVID days, we chose 10,426 of the emergency conditions allowance. And when we did that, there were some stipulations that the chancellor's office made us do, i.e. that your reserve had to be a certain amount. We met that. Good news, we did that calculated decision. Our funded FTS, a little over 11,000. So that set our floor. We picked up about $3 million, which was a great strategic decision that the district made last year when we talked about funded, unfunded. What's the happy medium? So that was a good choice there. Tentative versus adopted, what we took in June. On the left-hand side under tentative, and where were you taking you tonight? As our final adopted, as everything has gone through the laundry and washed it out. So 142 million revenue, 140 expenditures, 1.9 there as a estimated surplus. And I always say estimated because things can happen. Again, these are the 3 buckets of the student center funding formula of our apportionment. Again, access, remember, we're medium college, 2 educational centers, 13.3. FTES were funded off a 3-year average for credit. You see that as access, so 70%, that makes up 70% of our allotment, or 73.8 million. 20% is the middle client, or the middle column. The clientele that we deliver instruction to, are they Pell Grant recipients? Are they getting the California Promise Grant, AB 540? Again, those are based upon prior year numbers. Otherwise known as equity, 20% at 20 million. And then the last column is how successful are our students at 10%, is that the kicker. Associate degree for transfers, AAASs, credit certificates, are they transferring to 4-year institutions? And that again, are they getting transfer level math and English the first year? And again, that's an average of 3 years, known as success. So all 3 of those columns come up to 107 million, 107.19. We're showing the deficit factor of 1.0341, so 1.1 million. Remember, if that goes away, that'll go back into our bottom line. So we're bringing to you a adopted final budget with COLA, a little over 106 million there. Again, a requirement is to show the board and anybody in the audience on how our fiscal solvency plan is, how we're doing this year versus how we're going to do 2 years out. Even though these are all estimates, because things can change 2 years out. But again, we're obligated and required to show these. And you'll see our assumptions there. I just want to show under 2627 where it says expenditures, other increases. Again, we don't know what budget augmentations are going to be. So we put that there. And then again, in 2728, we don't know what those increases are going to be because the district hasn't started negotiations for when those CBAs expire. So again, these numbers will probably change, most likely will change. But the good news is, bottom line, I'm just gonna read bottom line only. 25-26, we're showing a surplus of 1.9. 26-27, about $1 million. And then 27-28, 3.2. And I'll just throw a caveat, 26-27 is probably gonna be better than less than $1 million. Being my tenure, 6 years, we always have a running joke, what is it gonna be? And it's probably gonna be better than that. So we are very well situated, the weather, any kind of storm that the feds may have or the state may have. The district's strong and enrollment's strong, so we're doing good.
He owes me a bunch of lunches. A bunch of lunches.
So again, special thanks goes out to our Director of Budget, our Chief Accounting Officer, and my right-hand person here, Kanetha. So with that, I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have on the 25-26 adopted budget.
Any questions?
Ron, I'm sure you've answered this question, but you probably said it in a way that went right over my head. So let me ask it a different way. On the apportionment, that the tentative was at 70 million and we ended up with 65. That's the 4.3 that's deferred? Is that correct, or what?
No.
Explain the 4.3 to me.
So what happens is the apportionment, you're looking at the BAI, right?
I'm looking at page 1,
You're looking
on
at
revenue.
the summary sheet, right? Okay,
Yeah.
I'm just seeing what you're looking at. Okay.
Page 1.
So in 25-26, we showed 70.3 million. 25-26 is 65.9, a decrease of 4. However, that apportionment goes up to the Educational Protection Act. So see where it went from 11 to
Right.
14?
Okay,
So
up
that
to the
offsets,
3.
and the local tax offset. So it's
Okay.
all, they give you it as a apportionment for California community colleges, and then they break it down. They break it down even more.
Okay. So there's not a deficit or a loss of that.
it's not.
It's just moved to a different
They
category.
move it to a different bucket.
Got
as
it.
you'd say.
Thank you. Makes sense.
Good report, Ron. The numbers sure look good.
Any other questions?
Well, John, that's why like places like, we call them, basic aid districts, they figure out what, they do the same thing, same calcs that we do. They figure out what their funding should be based on this many colleges, this many centers, this many FTES, and they come up with a number. And then when their portion of the local property tax comes in, if they're in South Orange County, you're not gonna find anything under a couple $1 million, right? That number ends up being larger than what they would have got from the chancellor's office. So in their case, that local tax number is huge. Everything else is zeros, because they're not taking anything from the chancellor's office funding. Everything they need and then more. They don't cut it off at what their calculations is. They get what they calculated, like we do, and then they get everything else. So
So if their local is higher
Yes.
than the calculated amount,
They get it.
they get the higher amount.
There are districts that we're very familiar with that may get $100 million more than what their funding formula says they should have gotten.
That's my sister's district.
I wasn't gonna say that. That's how we know. It's his
She's a
sister's,
she's a
the chancellor, one of those.
Is that Jennifer's district now?
No. There's 2 Orange County districts and there's
North-
one.
She's in North.
Yeah, North is not a basic aid, but South is.
And San Diego just went to basic aid. They just hit basic aid.
Is that right? That's 6 then. 6 in the state that do that.
Okay. At this time, the Board of Trustees will conduct a public hearing to provide members of the public an opportunity to address the board with comments and/or concerns regarding the final 2025-2026 budget. Anyone would like to make a comment? If there is no other comment, we will close the public hearing. Is that good for that? We're good? Yep. So there's no action, just public hearing, okay.
Oh, yeah, I think we do. It's an action.
Yeah,
item.
I move that we approve the final 25-26 budget as of today's date. Yes.
I'll give you a second.
Motion by trustee Lane, seconded by trustee Sherman. Any additional comment? All in favor, say aye.
Aye. Aye. Isn't that a roll call?
Oh, roll call.
I don't see roll call. Where is
No,
it?
it's not. It
All in favor?
is, well, it's
Motion carries.
It's a resolution, but it's not a roll call.
Yeah, motion
No,
carries.
oh, I'm sorry, I'm looking at the wrong one.
Next
Forget
one.
what I said.
All right, item 13, resolution, annual appropriation limit resolution 2025-09. Mr. Perez.
Yes, thank you. So this is a statute from 1979, 1980, basically from Paul Gann, that wanted to cap or restrict how much a government, i.e. community college, can grow. So every year that we have to do a calculation from the chancellor's office that shows what the Gann limit is. Can you scroll down for me? So the worksheet here, do we have the worksheet? Keep going. There we go. So the worksheet shows that the appropriation limit on row G, after you do everything, all the calculations, is 118 million. And we're just talking about the general fund unrestricted, though, so the SCIF. When we do our column 2, appropriation subject to the limit, you add everything in, it's about 107 million. So we're under the 118 million by $11 million. So again, this is something that it's required that we submit to the chancellor's office. And the question may be from you all is, what if we exceeded it? We would just increase this GAN limit on the paper. We send it to the state. They use all the other community colleges and they make it as a whole, and they report out one number to the governor's office. So again, if somebody exceeds the limit, they're not held, it's nothing really bad on them, because now at the state level, they're doing it as, we're reporting out community colleges as a whole, not as college of the Sequoias, right? So again, this is something from 1979, 1980 that we are required to do. So again, we're 11 million under the 118 million, so we're good there. So if there's no questions from the board, I'm happy to entertain a motion to approve resolution 25-09.
I would move for approval of resolution 2025-09.
Motion by trustee Nunez, seconded by trustee Lane. Any further discussion? Ms. Cochran, roll call vote, please.
Trustee Nunez.
Aye.
Trustee Lane.
Aye.
Trustee Sherman.
Aye.
Trustee Macarena.
Aye.
Thank you.
Carries. All right, everyone, thank you very much for a wonderful meeting. I hope you guys are having a great day, and we'll see you next time. Meeting adjourned.